Hello and welcome to my April TBR. So as usual, I am going to be doing some tarot to pick my prompts. So this month's tarot deck is the Tarot of Aphrodite. So it's like a classical art deck, and I'll be pulling some cards and reading the prompts. So the first card out is the Lovers. So for this prompt, I have to pick a romance book, and my choice is Kiss of the Lion. So I decided to pick a historical romance for the romance book. And I believe the premise of this one is mostly that I think he's like a professional gambler at some place called the Lion's Den, and then he meets a woman there who has gone there to try to stop her brother from gambling his life away. And unfortunately, someone's going to have to pay for her brother's debts. And I think must be the setup for this one, but that is my choice for the Lovers card. The next card out of the deck is the Hierophant. So the prompt for this is a book of poetry. I have to see what's available at the library. I do want to read Love Her Wild by Atticus, but my library doesn't have a big poetry collection. So if it's not that, I'll put a picture up of what I did actually manage to find when I searched online. So that is a book of poetry. Then I pulled the Emperor card. This one's been named Aries. And for this one, it's a book with one word in the title. And so for that, I've picked Breakdown. So it is one word, they've just hyphenated it for the cover. So this is a lit fic set in Ireland about a woman with her husband and children, and she one day walks out the front door. She ends up going on, I think, just a wild bender, and 2 days later, has to face what she's done. So that is Breakdown. The next card I pulled was the Three of Pentacles. So for this card, it is a book with an alliance or a group. So for this one, I've decided to go for a sci-fi called The Hunters. The cover was just very intriguing to me, and it's about a woman and her niece that are just trying to survive in the world. But one day a group of professional killers come into town, and thus begins a deadly chase throughout the terrain, and the two of them relying on each other. And then I pulled the Moon card, and the Moon card is a book that is paranormal. So I've chosen a paranormal book or an urban fantasy book called Glimmer of the Other World. It's about a PI who has the ability to tell when people are lying. And there's just a bunch of magical, mystical beings. It's a paranormal urban fantasy. So she's a PI with skills, researching cases, and obviously a lot of things get thrown in her way. Hello, Sylvie. And then we've got the Princess of Swords, otherwise known as the Page of Swords. And for this one, it is a book about books. A book about books. So for that one, I have got, this is a new release, just came in, The Book of Doors. So very serendipitous about this one. And The Book of Doors is about a special book that does magical and also terrifying things. And it is also a book worth killing for. So that is my choice. I think this is a magical realism kind of fantasy mystery book. And then I pulled the Sun card. So the Sun card says a light and fluffy contemporary. So for that, I have picked Krista Comes Out of Her Shell. So I believe it's about a woman whose famous father was thought dead, but then turns out he's actually alive, and it sort of causes chaos in her world. And I think there's like an old childhood friend romance thrown in, but it's, meant to be a light and fluffy contemporary lit ficky romance, I guess. And then we have the Seven of Pentacles, and this is a book that is an investment in myself or in self-care. So I've picked a non-fic for that called Mind Over Money. I thought I'd go really on the nose and pick a book about improving your finances and your psychological behaviors around money. So that is my choice for this one. And then we have the Priestess of Wands, which is also the Knight of Wands. And for this, a book that is out of my comfort zone. So as you know, I did previously dip my toes into dark romance, and I wasn't a fan. It is out of my comfort zone, but there's a book called Butcher and Blackbird that's just been doing the rounds and everyone's reading it. So I thought, all right, let's try again. It's out of my comfort zone, but who knows? Maybe I'll enjoy it, maybe I won't, but that one is a dark romance. This particular dark romance, I believe, is about a serial killing couple. So they're both serial killers and they end up falling in love. And then we've got 10 of Cups, and this is a book in your favorite genre. So my favorite genre is fantasy. So for my fantasy pick, I have chosen Fear the Flame. So this one is about a princess and dragons and heists and vengeance, like typical fantasy stuff. So that is my choice for fantasy. So those were my picks for April. Until next time, stay well, Star Child.